Alright, welcome back to the Supercoach Nuff channel. In this video we're going to preview round 13 of the 2025 NRL Fantasy season. So as we do before we talk about my team specifically, we will have a look at the top trade-ins and trade-outs as per NRLFantasyStats.com. So you can see the fire emoji there on Keon Kalamatangi, the number one trade-in this week. And I think it makes sense. He's playing that big minute role in the middle, albeit a prop instead of lock this year. But he is dual position. He does have good buy coverage coming up. I think their next buy is around 19. So yeah, I think he is rightfully the number one trade-in this week. Ezra Mam at number 2 is an interesting one. Obviously had a good game first up, so he does have a nice break even. I probably should have checked the break evens before I committed to a lot of this. There we go. It's not too bad at the moment, although he doesn't appear on the first page. So I'm sure it's a decent enough break even, but yeah, I guess he's never been that fantasy relevant. More of a super coach option, as that high upside attacking pick. But if the price is right, I haven't actually looked at the price. I'll see if I can load it up too, since that first one was quite quick. I have 480k, so break even of 16. Yeah, so I guess you just look at his previous sort of fantasy scores. He does go through these runs of form and then the dips. So yeah, career average of 33. So, he's priced at 36. I don't know if there's a lot of runway there. Jaden Campbell at number 3, though, is a keeper at particularly a wing fullback, so bring him in with confidence. Dylan Lucas, keeper in the centres, bring him in freely. Ewan Aitken on the edge, so I think if he was still eligible at centre as well, I'd be a little bit more interested, but I think just as a straight edge, I mean, if he's probably a straight swap for Dylan Egan, so that makes sense. But I think if you've got the cash to upgrade to Kalamatangi or even Lucas, I don't hate that pick. Papali'i is an interesting one, getting another go this week, albeit off the bench. Maybe he gets a starting gig if they decide to rest Lomax. But yeah, I guess if you're really looking for a downgrade option this week, he could be it. Fletcher Sharp, I think he is a keeper at wing fullback, so bring him in with confidence. Jazz Tavanga still has a little bit of runway as that sort of big minute middle forward. So I've got him in the team. I don't know if I'd trade him in if I didn't have him, but as I said, I've got him in my team, so I can't sort of talk people out of it. Harrison Hassett, cheapy on the edge for Penrith. Just trying to remember. I think he was named on the bench, wasn't he? I don't know. It's probably not worth looking up. Even if they rest Liam Martin, I think this is more of a short-term thing. Penrith don't have, well, they have their buy-ins in round 15 and 18, so he won't offer a lot of coverage in those big buy rounds. So I don't know if he's the most valuable asset to hang on to during that time. Marky Mark, obviously we've talked about the Roosters buy coverage a heap. And yeah, he just has that ability to keep making things happen. So it's obviously more advantageous in Supercoach, that attacking upside. But his dual position, his buy coverage does make him a very useful asset in fantasy. I've already got him in the team. So yeah, I can understand people wanting to bring him in. Hamish Stewart, so continues to get the run at 13. Just double check their buy coverage. I probably shouldn't have put in the same thing. So what's this, round 13, 14? So they do have 15 and 18. So if you can cover him in round 16, it's not the worst shout. Just still under 500k. Can see like he has been improving, and now since he started, those minutes are really good. So I do like that pick for 1H Stewart. Go back to here. Katoga. Um, don't know. I mean, I think he's got a good break even, but he doesn't play around 15. So it's a couple of trades in and out for him. So I think I'd avoid Owen Paddy. So he's only getting the start this week because Tommy Starling's out for a week. The Raiders have the buy around 15, so I don't like that trade. Aaron Clark, I think he's going to be the number one hooker this season. So even though they got the buy around 15, I think you can bring him in, and you just got to park him for that week. Api Coruscant. So yeah, I think he's got a decent break even. It's just a question of if they play around 15, they don't. So I guess if you can cover for round 15, it's not the worst shout after that. They've got round 18, 19 sorted. So yeah, it'd be nice if he kicked again, sort of around here, and we can get on. But yeah, I guess you got to make a call there for your team. On the chopping block this week, Dylan Egan. Yep, season-long injury, unfortunately, for the young man. So he's out. Fanua Blake, so a lot of people, had him for the last week and are willing to jump off. I think if you can hold, you should. Um, it's hard for me to say because I've chopped him in Supercoach, but if I had him in fantasy, I think he'd be worth a hold. Yeah, he's sort of like in that same mold of a Joe Tarpany um, type pick, where he's not one of those top three. Yo, May, Haas, I think are a clear top three. He is in that second selection of middles, but he will offer good buy coverage in the coming weeks. So if you can hold this week, I'd suggest doing so. Nafahu White, so he won't play the next 2 weeks because the Roosters are on a bye next week, but should be back in action from next week. So, round 15, which is again a big buy round. Um, so yeah, and here's one I'm probably targeting for that round too. But if you have to get rid of him now, that's fair enough. Tom Starling, so I guess he doesn't play this week, doesn't play around 15, so it does make sense to jump off now. Jackson Purdue's an interesting one. Um, I'm not sure on his numbers, so I'll have a quick look. So price at 40, break even of 55. I guess did only score 22 the in his first run at 5/8. Um, oh, that's from last year. I was like, what's he back in the centres? So I guess not a lot of meters run. Might be one more to look at the game scripts, like a couple more missed tackles. Um, but the whole point of bringing him into 5/8 was for him to get his hands on the ball a bit more. Um, and you'd imagine, especially with the Cowboys' good run, they don't have another bye now until round 27. So, they cover all the rest of the bye rounds. Um, Here's one that I'd consider. Like, I guess with the break even of 55, I can have a free look this week. But he could definitely be one to bring in for round 15 and just carry me through the back end of the buys, I reckon. So that's my thoughts around Purdue. I'd hold if I still had him. I did get rid of him a while ago, much to my regret. Or was this one where I faded him? I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I did have him and I binned him. But yeah, I'd hold. Long story short, Corey Horsburgh. I think yeah, it's probably one you could hold. Obviously, if you're upgrading to a Kalamatangi or something, yep, sweet. But there's not too many other big middles coming in this week, so I think yeah, he's team dependent. Tamale, so I guess if he's done his job for you, you could let him go. Halasima, so back to the bench with someone coming back in for the Warriors at the back there, and Capewell pushing back in the second row. So yeah, can get rid of him. Stephen Crichton, I think with his sort of injuries carrying, I reckon the Bulldogs will rest him this week. He'll probably want to play and could still go big, but I think he is one you can't let go of. Brayley, so I guess people probably brought him in for round 12 coverage. So in that case, yeah, you can let him go. If you can hold him, again, he will be useful for round 15 and 16 as well. Hubner, so got like the likes of Kalal Matangi, Aiken, people bringing in because of the buy coverage. Lockie Hubner's, probably going to be there in the 13 for the Rabbitohs through those games. So I think he is a hold. Jacob Kiraz, so if you can hold him, he is a keeper. You don't really want to use two more trades to trade him out, trade him back in later. Um, should be back for round 15. So I guess if he doesn't come back for round 15, may have to let him go reluctantly. Nico Hines, again, a weird one. He's pretty much a season-long keeper. Offers great buy coverage. After game one, it's going to be Cleary and Moses for the rest of the Origin series, you'd imagine, pending injury. So I think Nico Hines has got rock solid security. Paul Alamotti, um, I guess, doesn't play the other buyers, so he's probably done his job for a lot of teams. Okay. Isaiah Katoa, he's pretty much at keeper levels. So a bit like Hines, I think if you can, you hold Katoa. So in saying all of that, might just have a quick look at some break evens. So Hassett with a break even at 3, that's why he's so popular. Will make some money, but I don't think there's enough to really um, go it. I mean, he should play again around 16. They've already said they're resting all Origin guys after the Perth Origin. Getting over New Zealand. That's fair enough. So, yep, I think yeah, it's still not worth it in my opinion. Garlic, I don't know if Grant backs up this week, so you might get one more kick out of him. Waddell, a few injuries there at Manly, so might get another run. A bit more cash this week. Donahue, so off at 60, that was massive. I didn't realise he scored that well last week. Um, yeah, it could be a sneaky pod, but he's on the bye this week, I just remembered. So one for next week. Sam Rani's doing well, but probably wouldn't bring him in at 380. Hot Boy's on the bye. Papa Lee, only if we got news that he got the start off of, Zach Lomax gets rested and he comes in on the wing. Be interested at 249. Steep, I mean, offers decent buy coverage. Um, he scores well. He has been just playing off the bench, so you can't use the minutes as an excuse there. Um, so yeah, probably if you're looking for that cheaper option, I think he could be the one. Jazz Tavanga, so I guess that's why people bring him in. Nice break even of 7. I'll take some more cash. Thank you very much. Savala's still going well, but at 430k, I guess the buy coverage might make that worthwhile. Vilea, so I guess if you are looking for Cowboys coverage through the rest of the buy period, he comes fairly cheap. Nice bit of cash to make. Um, don't know. Talakai, if he can get a start, would be good. But he's way back at 260. Smithies, they're a bit too heavily priced to be make a lot of cash, I would have thought. So anyway, with all that said, my team this week, just the one trade, and I have flipped. So originally it was Hopgood out, um, given that I thought Butcher had a little bit more upside with the buys. Um, but the thing I forgot is this week is best 13. So um, I don't actually have any edge cover. Josh Curran would be probably in there, but he's on the bye this week. So if I was going to get Kalamatangi in, I wanted him to play. I am assuming that Haas and Yo back up. I think Yo definitely Haas. I'm 50-50 on. But in that case, I'm happy for Tavanga to slot in and play. Um, so it just sort of made sense that I wasn't going to play Butcher this week. I sort of had plans for all these other guys. If I had the money to go all the way up from Pasifiki Tonga, that was the no-brainer move. But yeah, the price was right with Butcher. It's a definite upgrade. Claude Matangi does cover most of the other buys anyway, so he's doing Butcher's job. So it just sort of made sense in the end to make that upgrade. Doesn't leave me with much cash in the bank, but I guess that was the point of the cash in the bank, was to do this sort of upgrade. So yeah, you would have already seen the team there, but I guess on the field view. So we got Clark at hooker. Basically, I think number one hooker. Basically got the top three middles in my opinion. Again, Haas may not back up, but Tavanga will slot in nicely. Hopgood and Kyle Matangi. So I think Kyle Matangi, if he can keep that prop position, he's the number one edge for the rest of the season. Obviously Hudson Young with the form he's in would be great. But I think I'll also, be comfortable with taking Barnett after the buys. So, he looked really good for New South Wales. He might sort of kick in the back end. Um, the likes of Couchman, if he can get back into fitness and get his starting spot back, he could be, a bit cheaper in a few weeks as well. Could be an option. Metcalf, Cleary in the halves. I think Cleary will back up this week, so there's no stress there. Worst case scenario, Savala comes in. Um, Lucas Nwangani Tuase in the centres is nice. Obviously, Kira's on the bye this week. And then the back three, again, three pretty much keepers for me this season. Looking at wing fullbacks in particular. I mean, Drinkwater probably has the better buy coverage, but Sharps is good. Teddy's is great. Campbell's is pretty decent too from memory. We'll just go a quick look at the fixtures. So yeah, it covers 15, 16, doesn't play 18. So, pretty good. 19 as well he plays. So, you know, looking at the team, I'm feeling pretty good about it. Obviously, second half, Metcalf's doing good enough to sort of be a keeper. But, if I change to the positions, if you have a look at the pricing, like Katoa's slightly above 58 average. I'm sure Nico Hines' 54 average is decent as well. So, they're the sorts of guys that we probably want them as like our third half option to upgrade Savala. But like I said, pretty much this is sweet. Hopgood upgraded. So, got to upgrade Hopgood. Centre wing. Like, I think my backline's set with Kiraz as well. There's Farnworth, Eero, some great centre options. Maybe Drinkwater at the back. Maybe Latrell at wing fullback if he has a tear towards the back end. And then just, doing our best with the bench, like get the likes of Tino in, Joe Tarpany, Adam Fanua Blake, those big middles on the bench. But obviously, we need a bit of coverage too. We can't go crazy with middles. So, yeah, feeling like the team's in really good shape. Maybe another top 10 round rank this week would be nice. But I don't know. It's feels pretty stock standard, this team. I don't know. But yeah, captaincy on Terrell May. I'm all in on Terrell this week to go big against the Cowboys post Origin. VC on Cleary, like I said, I think the Panthers back up and they need to win. So hopefully that confidence boost from last night gets him up and about. Bench doesn't matter because it's best 13 this week. So that's the team. If you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to add them below this video. Give us a like if you enjoy the fantasy content. Subscribe for all the fantasy sports content on the channel. And other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.